Hi, it's Winton, and welcome to our Freelancing Over 50 Friday. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the trends that we might take advantage of, especially for those of us over 50. A lot of good things happening in the world of freelancing as we uh, come out of the pandemic, or as some people are calling it now, the endemic version, and moving into a more reasonable, rational, productive business environment where people are looking to start projects, pick up projects where they left off, that kind of thing, and avail themselves of freelancers to do this stuff. The one thing that's been proven over the last 2.5 years is that remote work can be very productive. I was just reading an article a few days ago talking about one of the analyses of all the productivity that people picked up over the last 2.5 years is because they weren't dealing with office gossip and all the drama that goes on in the office when people didn't have the opportunity to spend many hours a day just sort of at the coffee machine or in the break room or whatever it might be, or the water cooler. The water cooler's famous, right? Talking about all this stuff that was non-productive for work. And when you're at home and working remotely, or even if you're working in a workshop area or a special place designed for remote workers, you have all that focus on what you're able to do, how you're able to do it, and not the distraction of the office politics and that kind of thing. So, very much desirable, and something that a lot of owners of businesses and government agency managers and nonprofit owners, uh, really prefer. They prefer that when people they're being paid to work, that they work. One survey I saw said that the average worker hired to work in an office setting for an 8-hour day uh, works about 3 hours and 28 minutes, I think it was. Something right around 3.5 hours. And that's appalling, when we grew up, if you came on the job and you uh, didn't work most of the day, you didn't have a job pretty fast. But now, of course, people have a lot more distractions, and now it's hard to tell whether they're, texting on their phone to a fellow coworker to help get the job done, or they're texting on their phone to their friend about some problem about that came up from the party they went to last night or something like that. So we live in a very different world right now about all this good stuff, that technology that enables us to do lots of things, but also becomes a big detractor in the office. In fact, there's another survey out showing that bathroom break times have grown tremendously when people can, go into the restroom and actually, uh, be standing in there looking at their social media and that kind of thing. That bathroom breaks went from about 5 minutes a decade ago to in some cases 20, 25, 30 minutes now. And there's not really much to do about that. It creates a problem in you know work environments. And I will be the first one to admit that there's nothing quite as satisfying in an office setting as of having everybody together in the same meeting, or being able to work with people and walk down the hall, and you can get two or three questions answered in a very short period of time. That's a good thing, and that kind of thing. But there's just a lot of trouble these days that comes along with being in that environment as well, and certainly one of the big solutions has been actually working remotely. Lots of pluses, lots of projects moving forward. So much so that it's predicted by the year 2027 that over 50% of all adult Americans that are in the workforce that are working will be freelancers, not employees. And this is something that has been a dramatic change in our lifetimes. You know, most people that we grew up with, they worked in a small business. They might have been a CPA or an accountant or a dentist or doctor, a nurse, whatever it might be, or working for a corporation. But working from home and being independent and working for several different organizations, you know, the goal was to get the gold watch. You know, you work for one organization, you participate in their retirement program, you make all that happen after 25 years, and there you are. And boy, things sure are different now. But freelancers are reporting that they have a better work-life balance. And this is kind of the number one thing that happens. Even though they're working the same number of hours that they were working in their job, they're the ones that have usually the option to set the schedule. And that freedom to set the schedule comes up time and time again as the most important thing to freelancers that they like about what they're doing. They also have a better earning potential. When you are working in an organization, they have policies and very strict uh, guidelines for what somebody can be paid and how much their salary can increase over time. I remember working for different companies, and we had every year when it came time to do employee reviews, we had a percentage, a tiny percentage that we can um, uh, adjust for somebody working. In the freelance world, if you want to just coast today and do proofreading, you can do that. But if you also want to really use your highest skills and all the knowledge and experience that you've accumulated over time, you can work for a much higher rate on those kinds of jobs. So you're really getting a a flexibility to increase your earnings rates quite a bit as you do that. And for the times that you don't want to earn as much, which that comes along, maybe you want to take some time off to attend uh, a grand a play at your grandkid's school, or go on a vacation, or whatever it might be. Then you have that flexibility. And more traffic or more family time was cited as one of the things near the top of the list that people liked about working remotely. And of course, a lot of our audience is focused on travel. They love the idea of traveling, for 2 or 3 months at a time, doing extended travel, not the crash and dash vacation that I took so often when I worked for other companies, and I'm sure you did too, or even if you work for yourself. You jump in the car, jump on a plane, you go for a week or two someplace, and then you come right back to everything. And you're there just long enough to de-stress, get a little bit of flavor what the culture is like, and then all of a sudden it's time to go home. And I know Airbnb promotes this very well, this idea of living like a local. That's really one of the most enjoyable things of traveling and freelancing and working on your own schedule, is that you're able to live like a local. And all these things add up to greater satisfaction in the work that you do. And especially now, there's a real problem with employee engagement. People have come back after the last 2.5 years into positions in companies, and they definitely, statistically, by evidence of the great resignation, are not really excited so much about the work that they're doing. In fact, approximately 73% of employees say they're doing just enough to keep their job. They're not running in and tackling projects and taking on new things. And as employers, they're not so happy about this. People used to be enthusiastic about working for the company, and now that employees know that they can work remotely and get a lot of stuff done, there's a lot of this. We've had the great resignation, which certainly has had many millions of people come back to work and leave the workforce beginning about last September. So this started almost a full year ago. And the employees that are there are just kind of lukewarm about the whole thing. They're not flying the company flag and buying the company coffee cups and wanting to make their company a better place. They're doing just what they need to do. And I expect that to change over time. I mean, it's like a period of decompression coming out of the last 2.5 years. People are trying to figure out what it's all about. Is this really what they want to do? A lot of soul searching over the last number of years, and the job looks different today than it looked before in March of 2020 when all this started. So takes a while to process that, but a lot of people are reaching the conclusion that they need to go out on their own and make things happen uh, uh, as an individual rather than as part of a company. That does create a few challenges too, is that a lot of new freelancers have never run a business, and freelancing is a business. So there's a few more things to know beyond just doing the work. You got to uh, take care of the accounting, which hopefully you would contract out to an accountant or bookkeeper. Very easy to do. Lots of bookkeepers on freelance networks as well, so you can do that. Um, and you focus on the things that pay you the most. And for individuals that are 50 plus years old, they have lots of skills, lots of things in demand. And when you're working for 30, 40, $50 an hour and more, you have the opportunity to hire somebody to do your bookkeeping so that you can focus more on things like building your business and that kind of thing. So all things to consider as we move into the uh, new normal. It's great to be getting out again and traveling. I've had now I think about 5 trips, 2 of them international, and it's just great to see people out attending conferences and workshops and moving into this brave new world. They've reached a conclusion that it's time for me to move forward. It's time for me to decide what I'm going to do to have the next amazing next decade. And that's largely of your own individual making. Sometimes amazing next decades happen just by happenstance for a very small number of people on the planet. They might win the lottery, they might hit the job market just right and hit all the promotions just right. But rarely do you talk to somebody that has accomplished anything. And I mean, it's certainly an accomplishment to rise to the executive ranks of a company. That's a great accomplishment. That usually takes a lot of hard work. Sometimes we've had people that we've seen do that may not have been, they may have been somebody's brother-in-law or something like that. So that happens too. Uh, but when you're a freelancer, you build it on your own. You make it happen. It takes a lot of grit to get going. And if you spend a little time learning the lay of the land, you can considerably shorten the amount of time it takes you to get where you're going there. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover today. Look forward to seeing those of you in our programs on next Tuesday night. And of course, we have our freelance masterclass coming up next weekend. So we're quite excited about that. And I've got a link I can drop in the chat window here. Let me get that going. The actually the bigger discount on that ends let's see, ends tomorrow night. So if you have an interest in participating in that, be sure and click on that link and see if it makes sense to you. All the details that are there, we're doing that with our partner, International Living, and um, and later this month or later next month, we'll be in Atlanta for our fifth conference of the year, the fifth live and in-person conference of uh 2022. So uh lots of great fun and just so delightful to be out in the world again. So until next week, best of luck freelancing, have fun, keep busy, and enjoy the journey. So we'll see you either Tuesday night or next week right here when we come back again. Take care.